Apparently, Benjamin Sesko is Arsenal's #1 target to upgrade the striking position. If reports are led to be believed, Arsenal are within touching distance of activating his release clause and bringing the Slovenian to the Emirates Stadium as we look to reshuffle and recalibrate things for next season. Now, obviously, we've been linked with him. Physically, there's a lot to like, but why specifically does Mikel Arteta want to sign him? I don't know, but in an attempt to do that for you lot or answer that question, I've made this video. So stick with me and let's jump straight into it. Now, if what's being reported in the newspapers about Benjamin Sesko is in fact true and there's substance to Arsenal Football Club signing him and a move appears imminent, you can see why Mikel Arteta potentially would want to sign him, people. The first is the obvious: goals. They win games. Defense wins titles. We look to have improved a lot defensively in how we're moving with the players we've recruited and our whole team's outlook towards defending. In previous years at Arsenal, it's like we did not care about defending, or we didn't necessarily appreciate the dark and boring aspects that develop a competitive side. Since then, we've obviously got that. We know in today's day and age, Mikel Arteta's system, or anyone's system for that matter of fact, is multifunctional. Players are not stationary. Players might have one primary role, but they have many in my opinion. You know, our first attacker is David Raya, or why would he be good with his feet in terms of build-up play? And our first defenders are in fact Kai Havertz at the moment, who's leading the line, and Martin Odegaard behind him. So there's a lot that Mikel Arteta demands from a striker beyond scoring goals. Obviously, long gone are the days of a striker just standing in the opponent's box and hoping to get on the end of chances and put the ball in the back of the net. But goals, now it's a crazy one because I believe we need another goal scorer. Internally, we have several players over the last 2 years that have shown they've got the capacity to score goals. But it's almost a weird one, I believe, for Arsenal, in that we are guaranteed to be, in my opinion, one of the top goal scorers in the Premier League collectively as a team. But we don't actually know who is going to get the goals necessarily, bar, in my opinion, Bukayo Saka, because he's got the strong body of work. Again, I hope Kai Havertz, Trossard can keep doing what they're doing. I hope Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli can find their goal scoring touches. I hope Declan Rice and the unlikely goal scorers continue in that regards, really and truly. I want everyone to be great defensively and everyone to be great in an attacking sense. But let's not beat around the bush. We need another goal scorer. And with Benjamin Sesko, the 18 goals he got in all competitions and the 14 he got in the league, it would obviously be a massive help to us. I mean, when you look at Sesko and whatnot, people moving away from the obvious, which I just said was goals, his skill set aligns well with what Mikel Arteta is demanding in terms of a tactical approach. He's got the ability to not only score goals and provide an aerial threat and compete in aerial duels, but he's got the ability to attack spaces in which he or his teammates can take advantage of. He's got great link-up play, and he's ultimately, you know, his teammates would make him a valuable asset in our system. Obviously, with the height, it allows us to continue in the same vein we've had on occasion with Kai Havertz, in that David Raya can simply just go long, either kick it into the center of the pitch or into wide areas. Kai Havertz, or in this case Sesko, gets the knockdowns and we compete for the second balls, and you can see where I'm going with that, people. Furthermore, you know, again, his goal scoring would provide a much needed boost to Arsenal's attack, really, if I'm honest with you, especially in tight moments and in tight spaces where potentially we need a proven goal scorer, someone that was born to score goals and someone that can display a necessary amount of individual brilliance to make the difference in that regards. On the topic of his goal scoring, it is very impressive and it's backed up by data. He boasts one of the best shots on target ratios in Europe across last season. Over half of his attempts finding the target, in which, again, you want to see that, and that wouldn't go amiss. Also, he's the second highest scorer per shot and the second highest scorer of goals exceeding expected goals in the Bundesliga, which again indicates his ability to find the back of the net from difficult angles and positions, in which obviously in an Arteta system where we are on the front foot a lot more, we do have a better creative side generally than Leipzig. With the greatest of respect, you would expect that to keep going. I would also say, and it's a bit cliche, and I'm just using this to plug Arsene Wenger, we don't buy superstars, we make them. Now, I'm sure internally within Slovenia, his home nation, he already is a superstar. He's one of the most recognizable Slovenian players, so he already is a superstar. But he's not exactly at this moment in time an Erling Haaland or any of the top 5 strikers that we have in that regards. My point is that he's on the upwards trajectory. He has the abilities to help us in the short, medium, and long term. Long term, obviously making him that truly quality player and one of those top brackets in strikers. Medium, because obviously his goal scoring will you hope it's what it is now and it continues. And in the short term, he's somebody that can tie in with what Kai Havertz and the other attacking options generally provide us, in that, he can grow with the squad. He can be rotated in and out of the side. So you get where I'm going. He's at the beginning of his career. It does feel like he's been around for a while, because people have been writing about him probably from his 18, 19 in the youth leagues and whatnot. And I'm sure in his homeland, probably from the minute he became a teenager, local tabloids were probably speaking about him. But he's 21 years of age. So there's a solid foundation that Mikel Arteta could utilize and obviously polish certain rough edges and get the best out of him. I genuinely think in the next 2 years, if Arsenal don't sign him, I'm not saying it's Haaland or Mbappe or any of that, but he will be a player we look back and think, what if? Again, for me, at some point, we're going to need an actual goal scorer. It kind of goes back to a point I made earlier, and we don't have that. We've got players with the capacity to score goals and have done it, but who is really a cold-hearted goal-getter in terms of scoring goals? Strikers are born, and I think Sesko is born to score goals. I think what we have internally already can score goals, but they weren't born with that knack. For instance, with Kai Havertz, one of our best, if not the best player since the turn of the year. I hope he can continue in the vein he set off in that regards. I love Gabriel Jesus, but would you describe goal scoring as necessary strong points at this moment in time or areas of improvement? Now, obviously, there's parallels between what Kai is currently doing and where we're at with Gabriel Jesus. Martinelli has shown a lot of volatility. Trossard is a seasoned veteran, and he did join us mid-season at a point. But is there a guarantee he's going to get double figures? As I said earlier, I want the best of both worlds. I want all the existing options to keep doing what they're doing or improve their form and get better. And externally, apologies, if we could bring in a winger and a striker that can get some numbers, goals win games, essentially. Turning some defeats into draws, some draws into victory. Obviously, it's more points on the board. Where you look back at last season and how it ended for us, just by looking at the data, imagine if we got anything from 3 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 more points, people. That's what you have to do if you're fighting this Manchester City side. There's no way around it. His price tag as well is obviously a massive attraction for Arsenal. Again, 65 million euros, apologies, is his projected release clause. That's significantly cheaper than the Isaacs, the Gyökeres, etc., etc. So it would make sense from a budget point of view. He is currently on a deal which runs until the 30th of June 2028. There has been rumours, in addition to potentially joining Arsenal, Chelsea or Manchester United, and very fluctuated reports. There is also rumors that rightly so, Leipzig want to give him a new deal. And again, you could describe it as a hefty price tag, but despite the price tag, where you look at our willingness to invest in young talent, he could ultimately develop into a key component at Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. I also think his signing doesn't necessarily disrupt the harmony of the existing options. Now, at the end of the day, if we want to get better, we have to be comfortable with making difficult decisions, in which Mikel Arteta has shown he's not afraid from that. Just ask Aaron Ramsdale. He's shown it with Raya. We have to be comfortable with this in this regards, people. But at present, Kai Havertz is doing his thing up front. I don't think Mikel Arteta is going to give up on Gabriel Jesus. And I think Sesko, at the end of the day, we're a family club. We want to be friends, but you need to take someone's spot. And I don't want Sesko to come into this club, if he does sign for us, and want to be second fiddle. But he's someone that could be rotated in or out with Kai Havertz, and simply put, could the best man win? Where you look at in comparison to an Isaac or an Osimhen, they're going to obviously sign for Arsenal, and they're going to have to be number one, if that kind of makes sense. Now, I do believe we're at that moment where difficult decisions have to be made, but that's another key attraction I think Sesko possesses for Arsenal. So his age, his price tag, what I've just mentioned in relation to the squad, I do think these are areas which attract Arsenal to his signing. And he's not the finished article, despite his impressive potential, he's still a young player with areas of development. Let's be honest, in his first season at Leipzig, he can look back with pride, but it did take a while to get going. He's not a seasoned veteran. The man is 21 years of age. He's 6'4", and he possesses a rare combination of agility, technical ability, and obviously his height, which makes his versatility a key asset in a Mikel Arteta system. And for the forward, it's a brownie point for him. He's renowned for his powerful shooting, his clinical finishing, and again, to get 14 goals from 31 Bundesliga games, including 2 in the DFB Pokal and also the Champions League, is great, people. So when you've got impressive goal scoring statistics backed up by data, he's got all of these positive statistics, it makes sense as to why Arsenal see him as an attractive proposition. Now he's held in high regards, and I'm sure many teams want him. And again, the papers are one thing. What's actually happening in the world of football is another. So until the man is holding an Arsenal shirt and saying it was a dream to play for our football club, in my opinion, we cannot count our chickens just yet. And again, a potential move to Arsenal, it's still in this very elementary days of discussion. He's got the talent, he's got the potential to fit in with this system and become an exciting player and prospect long term for this football club. If we're able to secure his signature, you know, we could be adding a vital piece to our puzzle as we continuously strive for success in the Premier League and winning trophies and pipping Manchester City to a few. All in all, who knows, man? Because 1 week it's all Sesko, the week before it's Isaac, it will probably be some other striker, 1 minute it's Osimhen. So who knows? We cannot count our chickens before they hatch. But there are just some rough reasons as to why I think potentially would go for him. I did a more in-depth Sesko video for you guys a few months ago, so go and check that out, people. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The journey to 70k is alive and kicking. The work doesn't stop. So I'm off to go and record another video for you guys. But in the meantime, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. God bless you all. Peace.